All right, so one of the things I do as a teacher is I use things analogous to teach the kids certain lessons. And one of the things that I've been talking about this year, because it was relevant and it was, teachable theme, is how the warriors do what they do so that my students can act like the warriors. And one of the things I want to talk about really fast is, we talked about this yesterday, but we're going to do a little faster version today and recap some of our thoughts. Initially, this is kind of a recap, and I'm going to do a listening test now to see if you guys were listening yesterday, and that way you could regurgitate the information a lot faster. We were talking yesterday about warriors and inspiration for this YouTube video, and one of the things was, what did we see in the warriors and how it's relevant to what we've taught in class. And so one of the themes was good sportsmanship. How did that show up in what the warriors do? Yes?
They're like, whenever they win a game, they aren't like yelling and screaming and hitting the other people. They're like, they respect the other team, especially if they're a team that was really close to beating them.
Yeah, and so we were talking about how when they do their after game interviews, they were always respectful. Like when they beat the Cavaliers, they said, no, we didn't figure them out. You can't figure out an elite team like them. You just have to do your best. They're not saying, oh, we're the best and we're just going to keep on owning. That's not how you do it. And it's very true. The Cavaliers are a great team and they can come back. And the next game is when?
Wednesday.
Tomorrow. The last day of our school year is going to be the third game of the series. And another student talked about healthy, friendly competition. Who was that person? Talked about healthy, friendly competition? Yes. Mr. Mustache, yes. Tell us about that, quick.
Well, so basically it's the same theme as good sportsmanship, because as you said, they respect the other team, and then you made an analogy to, you compare them to the Seahawks, and you talk about like Richard Sherman and other players who like disrespect the other team a lot. So yeah.
That's not a good thing. How do we do friendly competition in our class?
We did word finds.
Yeah, the word find beast, right?
It was a competition, but then when whoever wins, we're not like mad at them for being good, so we're excited for them.
Yeah, and even when we had so-called competitions like young authors, the people that won, got the support of the people that also participated, and I thought that was phenomenal. Everyone was just like, no, we're just happy because we're a family, right? Responsibility, everyone is strong, but everyone has weaknesses. That's the balance, right? Teamwork, it's not just one person that does well. The whole team has to play together, and we talked about strength in numbers. Teamwork makes you what, everyone?
Exponentially stronger.
Yeah, so it's not the whole does not become the sum of the parts when everyone is in the team is participating, and everyone can become strong and help each other out in their own strength. So that was one of the things we talked about, their motto, strength in numbers. Oh, and by the way, this is a logo that Winter made for us. Well, she made the bigger version, but the initial idea was from the Padawan and who else? And Stephen Curry Jr. came up with that idea. They kind of shared the idea. So it's great. See, like I said, great ideas come, from collaboration and collaborative ideas. So I wanted to add to that if you read enough of Iguodala, he'll talk about how process is the key to winning. If you focus on the process, the wins will be there. And what did I talk about this year? Focusing on the process. Don't focus on the product. Don't focus on the... What did I say? Beginning of the year, I said, don't focus on the grades. Because if you focus on the grades, you might not necessarily learn. What did I tell you to focus on? The learning. And if you're learning, what will happen?
You'll get better.
The grades will or should come. The grades should come if your process is proper. And that's what Iguodala said. And Kurt always says that kind of stuff too. Then I was thinking while I was doing all my work yesterday, in the off season, keep them together. Family is more important than just winning. Now, there's a lot of talk about acquiring Durant, and there's a lot of talk about acquiring new members to the family. is that a? I mean, Durant's a superstar, and he was on the Thunder, but everyone wants Durant, don't they?
Yeah.
And everybody wants to see if they can lure him away from a champ. Well, you know, they could win the championship next year. I don't know if Durant will want to leave them, but do you think he'd automatically be a great addition to the Warriors family?
No.
What do you think? And this is one of our, most avid Warriors fans. So what do you want? What do you say?
So I think you wrote up there Durant for Iguodala. Right. So Durant plays small forward. So the Warriors treat each other like family. But when you add a new player to the family, I'm pretty sure he's not used to that the way that they play. I mean, he plays 3-point game and everything, but they have a little bit of bad blood. But as you said, family is sometimes more important than winning. But Durant for Iguodala, won't that mean that he'll have a bench position, not a starting position?
If they see, one of the things that Iguodala said, it'd be wonderful to play with Durant, but at the same time, if he's going to play with Durant, because what he's implying is that something would have to happen. Someone would have to go in order to get somebody like a superstar like Durant. Durant costs a lot of money, which means the salary cap will be too high, and then there's a luxury tax, and you can't afford to have players be too expensive. So what happens is, if you gain a new family member in your basketball team, you've got to trade one of the current members out in order to be able to afford it. Now, that's what I would worry about, is if the chemistry is so amazing with this team and they're just dominating all over the place, is there a real benefit to getting a new player?
No, not really.
Even a superstar player, when they've already got enough superstar players or players that can do their job, and they don't even have to be superstars, but they know what their strengths are, they know what their limitations are, and they do their best, and the chemistry is amazing, because sometimes one person will be super successful, and another time another person will be super successful, right? So since their chemistry is already so good, is there a benefit to trading any of them? That would be like me saying, you know what, I'm going to trade out some of the kids in this class. But this class was so awesome. Who would you trade out? I say, oh, I want to trade this one for a person that gets A's, but then at the same time, that person is mean to everyone. Or maybe they don't understand what it means. Could we just do that? Would that be beneficial?
No.
Or would that just ruin the chemistry? And that's just thinking about a classroom of 30 kids. We're talking about a team with 15 people on it, including the bench, right? So you tweak too much, and you tweak a major piece, the class becomes a completely different thing. The family, the ohana, becomes a completely different thing. So I don't even want, to be honest with you, it's not all about winning. Maybe you could win with a different player. If we swapped a few people out, maybe we could still do great ukulele performances. But is that what you want?
No.
Or do you like the way this class has been already? The family that we've created here throughout the year is kind of nice. So I'm really worried that they could ruin the chemistry by trying to secure somebody who's a proven superstar and a winner. And sometimes the superstars are the most selfish, aren't they?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. They're the ones that want everyone to do what they're
And then they go
doing,
to
and
jail.
perhaps they're not necessarily leadership mentality in the kind of leadership that we like to talk about, which is unselfish leadership, which is what the Warriors have. So acquire Durant. Why? Not at the expense of the family. No acquisitions seem to be necessary at this point in time, because can't they take the same teammates? And have you seen how the teammates that they have, the stars that they have, elevated their game last year to this year? They're like totally different players, aren't they? If you've been following for a long time, it seems like they just get that much better every year. So it's almost like they got new players. Thompson seemed like a whole new player. Everybody's saying, yeah, he's like a completely different player. His confidence is in there, and he can, he's clutch all the time. And you've got Curry, who's elevated his game. So do we really need new players if the ones that we have are already capable of improvement? Imagine if we had this class just stay together as 6th grade. then you guys would be, I mean, just all of you were in the same class and you could just elevate your chemistry, couldn't you? And everyone would just be even happier to be with each other and forge even stronger bonds. But no, we're going to split you all up and change the entire chemistry of all the classrooms.
Yeah, but we also have friends in other classes.
And that is true. You'll change the chemistry, and it may, by doing that independent variable of changing classes, it may make things better, but it could make them
But
less
it could
better.
stay the same.
It could stay the same. It could. It could. That'd be lofty goals, though, wouldn't it? Because you guys are so nice this year. One of the things Steph says is we're doing it by committee. Curry is the leader, but they all seem to lead depending on the moment or instance of strength. Do you know what I mean by that? If Curry is their leader, there are also other types of leaders. Who knows what I mean by that? Somebody who hasn't spoken yet. Yes.
Like the coach, because he teaches them, but there are times when he just leads the Warriors off to leads them and lets them lead on their own.
Exactly. But everyone is a leader, though, aren't there more than one leaders in the team? It just depends on where their strength is and what they need from that moment. But the coach is obviously the leader. He's like the super leader. But then there's Curry, who's the leader of the players. But then he's not always the leader, is he? It depends on the moment and who's hot. Who's got the hot hand, right? Draymond is known to be the what?
A great defense.
The emotional leader and the leader of the defense. But when Klay Thompson's hot, he becomes the
Leader of the offense.
leader. And when Sean Livingston goes in, he leads the bench players, right? And that when he's in. So everyone's a leader, and it's kind of like the way we talked about it in class. Okay, when one person is lousy or off, the others completely get the trust to rise up, and they do because they have formed a brotherhood. And oftentimes they'll go to each other's houses and hang out with each other, text each other, and I read that in the newspaper too. And they keep in touch outside of the game, and that helps to build their brotherhood and the family. So I hope they don't break up their family, and definitely don't trade Durant for Iguodala. Iguodala is way better for our team chemistry-wise. Would you want to trade your older brother?
What? No. I don't have
It doesn't even make sense. Yeah. Anyways, that's what I wanted to say for now.